This week, we're going to look at qualitative research. Up to this point, we've been looking at quantitative research, which has tried to be as objective as possible. We collect information, we process information, and then we communicate information. This week, rather than trying to focus on narrow questions where we're trying to objectively measure a specific phenomena going on, we're talking about broader qualitative studies. And we're going to follow the same process, collect information, process the information, and communicate information, except the question is going to be so broad that we know we're going to be subjective in how we choose to collect the information, in how we process the information, and in how we communicate information. So I want to reflect a little bit on this idea of subjectivity and how we're going to be subjective when we do qualitative research. The point that I want to emphasize is that our subjective decisions are influenced by our values. What we value will influence what information we collect, how we will process the information, and how we'll communicate the information. So I want to ask the question, where do our values come from? And I think that's a super important question for everybody, because we can say that, oh yeah, our values just come from our environment, from our culture, from our education, from anybody that we see as valuable. We get influenced by them. I'd like to propose, especially if someone wants to be a Christ follower, we especially need to get our values from God, from God and His Word. Because that'll show us what has eternal value versus temporal value. It also shows us what's important from God's perspective. Now, that won't give us all the values that we have, because there's a lot of things that aren't covered in the Bible. But if we have the key basic values that God has, we'll be able to better see things from His perspective and accomplish things that will better accomplish His purposes.